The ump shouted, "Play ball." The Yankees took the field. The first inning, the Dodgers jumped all over Allie Reynolds, the Yankee starter. Eddie Stanky led off with a line single to left. Pee Wee Reese watched 2 pitches out of the strike zone, then poked a single up the middle. And Jackie stepped up to the plate. The Yankee infielders moved in to defend against the bunt, but Jackie wasn't bunting. He blooped one to left, and it dropped in near the foul line. The bases were loaded with nobody out. The Dodgers smelled blood. They could break the game wide open from the start. Dixie Walker unfortunately hit a sharp grounder to short. Phil Rizzuto scooped it up as he raced to tag second. Jackie came barreling in and knocked him off his feet. Rizzuto got off the throw to complete the double play, but he paid the price. He was on the ground for 5 minutes before he was able to struggle to his feet. Stanky scored on the play. Reese came home on a passed ball, and the Dodgers jumped out to a 2-0 lead. Brooklyn scored 2 more runs in the third inning. When Reese, Jackie, and Dixie hit back-to-back doubles, the Dodgers led 4-0. That sent Allie Reynolds to the showers. Looked like the Bums might run away with the game. Left-hander Vic Lombardi, the Dodgers starter, didn't allow a base runner for the first 2 innings, but the Yankees roared back with 5 hits in the third. When all was said and done, the Yankees had knocked Vic Lombardi out of the game and tied it up 4-4. Ralph Branca came in to pitch for Brooklyn. The Yankees graded him with 3 singles in the 4th inning, and it was Yanks 5, Dodgers 4. Nobody scored in the 5th. When the Dodgers came to bat in the 6th, there was a sense of urgency on the bench. Time was running out. The Yankees had already brought in their top reliever, lefty Joe Page. Bruce Edwards started things off with a single to right. Carl Furillo followed with a double in the left field corner. Runners on second and third. Cookie Levigetto came up to pinch hit. He hit a long sacrifice fly to right, scoring Edwards' tie game. I heard a few sighs of relief in the Brooklyn dugout. Bobby Brigham was called on to pinch hit, and he doubled to left. That scored Furillo and put the Dodgers up 6-5. On the bench, the Dodgers were yelling and screaming. Even though he was a pitcher, Dan Bankhead was brought in to run for Brigham on the mound. Joe Page kicked the dirt angrily. The top of the order was up for the Dodgers. Eddie Stanky pounded a single to right. Bankhead held up at third. Stanky advanced to second base on the throw home. Now the Dodgers could do some real damage. Joe Page was out of the game. Bobo Newsom came in to pitch for the Yankees. Pee Wee Reese was up. Newsom delivered and Reese smacked a single to center. His 3rd hit of the day. Bankhead and Stanky crossed the plate. Dodgers 8, Yankees 5. It was a great battle, and I was enjoying every minute of it. When the Dodgers made their 3rd out, I plopped on the bench next to Al Gianfrido. He was a little guy, not much bigger than me. His eyes seemed watery, like he was crying or something. "You allergic to something?" I asked. "Nah," he said. "This may be the last game of my career." Gianfrido told me that he'd hit only .177 all season and had only 2 home runs in his entire career. He was pretty good with the glove, he said, but that's not enough to keep a player in the league. He worked as a fireman during the off-season. Would probably do it year-round after the Dodgers released him. "But you're famous," I protested. "You made one of the greatest catches in baseball history, didn't you?" Gianfrido said he didn't know what I was talking about. "Frido," Dodger manager Barney Shotton shouted. "Take over left." Joe Hatton came in to pitch for the Dodgers. He retired the first 2 Yankees, but then he walked a batter and gave up the single to Yogi Berra. 2 on, 2 out. The Dodgers had a 3-run lead, but no lead was safe against the Yankees. And now the tying run was at the plate, Joe DiMaggio. He hit a homer yesterday, Aunt told me. A home run now would tie the game. Joe D could go long ball at any time. DiMaggio jumped on Hatton's first pitch and connected. He slashed a bolt to left. The ball is heading in the direction of the low bullpen fence. A roar escaped from the crowd. Everybody on the Dodger bench bench stood up to watch the flight of the ball. It would have been out at Ebbets Field easily. The Yankee Stadium had a lot of running room. Gianfrido had been playing shallow left field, but he put his head down and began sprinting toward the fence. The outfield fence in Yankee Stadium wasn't cushy and padded, as they all are in my time. There were concrete walls and sharp fences. The ball was starting to come down, and Gianfrido could tell it was going to land near the low wire fence. The sign next to the fence indicated it was 415 feet from home plate. The two Yankee base runners were running on anything and had already reached home plate. DiMaggio had slowed into his home run trot. He knew he'd hit the ball hard enough to get it over the fence. Gianfrido was still running at full speed, his back toward the plate. His cap flew off. As he got close to the fence, he peeked over his left shoulder. He saw that the ball was coming down over his opposite shoulder. He twisted around and stretched his glove out over the fence like he was catching a football pass. He jumped and turned to avoid the crashing into the fence. The ball hit the top of the webbing of his glove. It stuck there. 3 outs. The Dodgers screamed with joy. Yankee fans couldn't believe it. Gianfrido held his glove up for the umps to see. Half of the ball was sticking out of the webbing like a snow cone. DiMaggio kicked the dirt near second base in frustration. When Gianfrido came back to the dugout, he stared at me. "Nice catch," I said. The Yankees threatened in the 7th and picked up a run in the 9th inning, but Dodger relief ace Hugh Casey was on the mound, and he wasn't giving an inch. For the last out of the game, Casey gloved a grounder back to the mound and flipped it to Jackie at first. Final score, Dodgers 8, Yanks 6. The World Series was all tied up at 3 games apiece. Game 7 was scheduled for Yankee Stadium the next day. The Dodgers whooped it up in the clubhouse as if the World Series were over. They were throwing little Al Gianfrido up in the air and catching him. And Dixie Walker set Bobby Bragan's pants on fire. Somebody nailed Jackie's shoe to the floor. Guys were having contests to see who could spit tobacco juice the farthest. A few of them were running around in jock straps playing clubhouse ball. They were pitching beer cans and whacking them with bats. They were crazy. The celebration finally wound down and most of the players were gone when Ant walked up to me. He grabbed my shoulder and spun me around. "How come you got the same name as the colored boy?" he demanded. "What?" I asked. He showed me my wallet. "The black boy told me his name was Joe Stashak. Now I see it's your name, too." "That's none of your business," I said, grabbing the wallet from him. "Keep your paws off my stuff." "There's only one explanation for this," Ant said. "You're a black disguised as a Polak, and you came from the future. You've got real psychological problems, Ant. You ought to get help." "You're the one who's going to need help," he said. "How do you explain this?" He pulled out my Game Boy and held it in front of me. "It's a portable video game system," I explained. "You play games on it." "Oh, sure you do," Ant said. "I bet it's some kind of a secret spy gadget. You're a communist spy, aren't you?" "Give me a break, Ant. I finally figured you out, Stashak, or whatever your real name is. The commies want to steal our atomic secrets so they can take over. You've been sent here from the future to infiltrate us. You thought you could fool us by disguising yourself as a colored boy. Ain't that right? Well, it didn't work." Man, what a nutcase. Ant made fists and started dancing around like a boxer. "Put 'em up, you colored commie Polak." Jackie was watching from his locker. I looked at him. He looked back at me and raised his eyebrows, as if to say, "So what are you going to do about it?" I turned around and walked away from Ant. I had better things to do than mix it up with the lunatic. Game 7 would be tomorrow. Then I would go back to Louisville. I couldn't wait.